The fan-favorite character underwent a major prostate cancer procedure several weeks ago, but recovery has not been easy due to the after-effects of the operation. One of the hardest parts for him was having to live with a catheter for a fortnight. He was deeply uncomfortable being around others while using it, and even exaggerated his pain in an attempt to remain in hospital a little longer. Following the removal of the tube yesterday, he decided to celebrate by going to the pub for a few drinks with Caleb. To him, finally being free from the catheter felt like a major sign that life was slowly returning to normal. However, he ended up drinking more than he should have, leading to a rather unsteady journey home. During the walk back, he was suddenly reminded that his body was still far from fully recovered when he urgently needed the toilet. He relieved himself by the roadside, just as a police officer and his companion appeared nearby. As a result, he was taken into custody for public urination and behaving drunkenly in public, something that left him furious. When he eventually returned home in tonight's episode, he attempted to hide the truth from his wife about where he had spent the night. Unfortunately for him, she had already learned that he had been locked in a police cell overnight. He later spent much of the day debating whether to open up about what was truly upsetting him before finally deciding to be honest. He confessed that the most humiliating part of the situation was losing control of his bladder on the way home, while also admitting that the officer assumed he was simply heavily intoxicated. While reflecting on the incident, he realized that his body has changed significantly since the operation, especially when it comes to handling alcohol. Although he struggles to accept these changes, he understands he must learn to adapt. It marked a rare moment of vulnerability for him. Normally unwilling to discuss his emotions, admitting that the ordeal had damaged his pride was a huge step forward. The question now is whether he can continue moving in the right direction. A surprising new development is on the horizon in Emmerdale, as Eric Pollard begins to suspect he may have discovered a young apprentice with a natural talent for making money. The well-known villager shocked everyone last year when news emerged that he had secretly tied the knot with Kerry Wyatt. However, the marriage was never based on romance. Instead, Eric chose to marry Kerry for practical financial reasons and to help manage his affairs. As his Parkinson's disease continues to progress, he wanted to make sure his assets were protected, so his grandson Jacob would not be burdened by expensive care home costs in the future. Although Eric's relationship with Kerry was never romantic, he still couldn't help feeling jealous after discovering she had started seeing Jai Sharma. Sticking to his usual habit of interfering in other people's lives, Eric attempted to test Kerry's loyalty. Unfortunately, the plan backfired. Once Kerry realized Eric knew about her secret relationship, she ended things with Jai because she didn't want Eric to feel abandoned. The decision left Kerry miserable, prompting Eric to eventually give his approval for her to continue dating Jai. What originally began as a casual workplace romance has since grown into something far more serious between the pair. In scenes airing soon, Jai heads away for a short time, leaving his son Archie in the care of Kerry and Eric. While spending time with them, Archie finds entertainment by tricking both adults out of money, leaving them stunned by his cheeky behavior. Refusing to let him get away with it, Kerry and Eric team up to recover the cash before deciding the youngster's punishment should be helping out in the shop. However, things take an unexpected turn when Eric notices that Archie actually has a sharp eye for business opportunities and money-making ideas. Of course, the sensible thing would be for Eric not to encourage the boy's mischievous streak or teach him any of the crafty tricks he has learned over the years. Still, if Eric spots an opportunity to make extra cash, resisting temptation may prove impossible. Could this unlikely partnership end up creating fresh problems for Kerry and Jai? Laurel's love life in Emmerdale has certainly taken some unexpected turns over the years. One partner was secretly gay, another later realized he was gay, and now her latest romantic connection has created serious complications involving her own stepdaughter. Things are set to become even more intense as the chemistry between Laurel and Ross reaches a boiling point, leaving Gabby heartbroken and humiliated in the process. Sparks begin to fly between Laurel and Ross while they take part in the dancing craze currently sweeping through the village. At the very same time, Gabby mistakenly convinces herself that Ross has feelings for her. Hoping to impress him, she dresses up in her most seductive outfit and attempts to tempt him into a romantic encounter. Unfortunately for Gabby, the plan ends in total embarrassment when Ross completely rejects her advances. The painful rejection hits Gabby hard, especially after several disappointing experiences with relationships in recent years. Feeling crushed, she opens up to Dawn about her humiliation, though she still has no idea that Laurel is actually the woman Ross is interested in. Protective Dawn immediately becomes furious on Gabby's behalf and confronts Ross directly. However, her attempt to defend Gabby only makes matters worse, as Ross firmly makes it clear that he has absolutely no romantic interest in her. Ross's cold response is largely because he is already enjoying his secret relationship with Laurel. Their connection has become exciting and passionate, and he is more than happy to keep things hidden from the rest of the village for now. Meanwhile, Laurel finds herself enjoying the thrill of the affair far more than she ever expected. Speaking about the storyline, Charlotte Bellamy joked that Laurel is experiencing a sense of freedom and excitement, though she doesn't want the character gaining a wild reputation around the village. She also reflected on Laurel's past heartbreak, explaining that previous relationships left lasting emotional scars. Because of this, Laurel may now simply want some carefree romance instead of anything too serious, although that may not last forever. Ross, however, appears to be growing increasingly attached. He is thrilled when Laurel agrees to spend another evening with him, while local gossip begins spreading rapidly throughout the village. Just as the pair are about to enjoy some private time together, Sam Dingle accidentally interrupts them while asking Ross for additional dance lessons. Forced to think quickly, Ross comes up with a flimsy excuse, though Sam remains completely oblivious to what is actually happening. The secrecy only adds to the excitement for Laurel. Once Gabby later insists she is finally over Ross, Laurel starts believing the path may now be clear for the relationship to become more serious. The difficult question, however, is whether she can eventually admit the truth to Gabby. Rosie Bentham also reflected on how isolated Gabby has become, pointing out that she no longer has a proper support system around her. Without someone close to confide in, Gabby tends to overthink situations and internalize her insecurities. She explained that Gabby is now trying to redirect her focus elsewhere in life, particularly towards health and self-improvement. However, there are concerns that this desire for validation could eventually spiral into something unhealthy. Rosie hinted that Gabby's storyline may continue exploring issues surrounding self-worth, rejection, and obsession, teasing dramatic developments still to come. Elsewhere, another explosive storyline continues unfolding as Todd tightens her grip on Charity over the truth surrounding baby Layla's real parentage. Emmerdale airs on weekday evenings at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available for streaming on ITVX.